What's up, everybody? My name is Ron Empire, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we've got a sponsored stream. This game is called OMEA. I got the key for this a week ago, and the embargo lifted this morning. They just made the demo available for everybody. My version is a full copy version, but it is the same build as the demo. So at the bottom right corner of the screen, it does say demo version. Before we begin, let me read to you the description here off of Steam. Your words shape the adventure. OMEA is a revolutionary AI-powered narrative game where your personal game master responds to everything you write. No menus, no limits. Just type and forge your own legend across fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, and beyond. So this game is a role-playing game where you do have an AI that is the dungeon master, which is kind of neat, and this is one of the reasons why I accepted the sponsorship offer on this, because I used to play role-playing games, and having like a dungeon master kind of like walk me through the visuals in my mind, describing the world, and then he asks me what I want to do, so I tell him what I want to do, and then he'll respond to that. So it's kind of a neat concept, having an AI now that walks you through a guided story experience. So I think that's really cool. And being a game developer myself, I think this is a neat idea. Somebody is eventually going to do this, and I think these guys are probably one of the first to do this. So I'm excited to check this out. The developer is Immersive, and there's no release date yet. They are self-publishing, and thank you so much for sponsoring this stream. And I will have this also available on my YouTube channel later for you guys to check out. For now, there's only one story in the demo, and they said that there will be more added soon. And there is a teaser in the trailer on what the next story that they plan on having. All right, let me go ahead and enable the sound. And then let me briefly show you the settings. So they added the graphics option for me. Before, there was no window mode. I told them like, well, I need to be able to play this in window mode and capture it. So they added this for me. Thank you so much for that. There is no title bar. It is windowless, but here you can see the directions. It says hold Alt. So if you hold the Alt key and then click on the window, anywhere on the window you can actually move it around. So that's how you move the window. Here are all the different options. So they started off with only these things, and I said, well, can you please add in 2560, 1440? So they added that, and they also added these two here. This is my full screen at the bottom. And then system pointer. So if I disable this, it's the in-game software cursor. System pointer is the hardware cursor. So it's really nice that they also have a hardware cursor mode. I disabled parallax scrolling. So this responds basically to your mouse movement. All it does is just shifts the background image back and forth. It does give me a little bit of a motion sickness whenever it tracks my mouse. Reduce motion is off, or on, meaning motion is off. And no controls for key binding yet. Here are all the audio settings. So this is my microphone setting. It's going to... There's a way for me to not type. That's not mentioned in that little brief description I read earlier. So you can actually use your microphone and have it try to transcribe the things that you say with your microphone. And if I have this off, what it does is it just records whatever with your microphone, and then it submits it to their server. Their server reads it or listens to it and then spits back a transcription. So there's a little bit of a delay there. This is the experimental version where it's local, so it's a little faster, but it's not as accurate as the one that they have on their server. Music, there, fine. What else? Voice, I bumped it up as high as possible. General, I don't want to mute anything. Keeps online saves, reset local data. Let's go ahead and reset the local data. No, I don't actually, it might wipe out my settings, so I don't want to do that. Let's not do that. Let's close out of this. And then jump into my own story here. Odin's Trial. Okay. The storm took your ship You wake alone on a frozen shore, find a way off, or the cold or something worse claims you. And the author, the person that wrote the story, is Ethan Winters, I guess. It is slightly scripted, but the AI does respond to you. So there is a designer for each of the different games. It's not purely AI. Click arrow to scroll, right? This is the other scroll. And let's go ahead and restart. And then I get to choose to be a male or a female. So the male here, Viking Raider, 30 Winters. I don't know what they're. Oh, I guess that's his age, right? 30 Winters. Viking Raider washed ashore, half dead after his ship broke on the rocks. Alone on a frozen island, he aches for a home he can no longer picture. Something in the dark already circles. Okay. And then the female, also 30 years old, is a shield maiden. A Viking shield maiden washed ashore, half dead after her ship broke on the rocks. And the rest is the same. Okay, I'm gonna go with the female. Who's her? Oh, you know what? We can go back and look at the stats too. Mental, average, weak. On the social, physical is very strong. Athletic, average. Intimidation is average. Fight is weak. She has no lore, no persuasion, survivals. Go back. This is her little backstory on the left, right? Okay. Take a look at this guy. He has no lore, no persuasion. I think stats are roughly the same, right? Average, strong. Weak, survival, still weak. Perception, average. I think it's roughly the same. Go back with the female. Oh, what's this forge your own? I think it's not available in the demo. Oh, okay. What it does is it pops up a QR code, and then you can create your own. Including your stream or recording. But open your capture link if you're live. If you're live, hide this window or switch scenes before you show the code. Yeah, let's not. I don't need to hide this screen first. Let's just go ahead and click on the female. But it is possible to create your own. Alright. The storm took everything. Your ship, your shield, sisters, and most of your memory. You woke half frozen on a strange shore. Ringed by wreckage and the dead, you know only two things. You are a shield maiden. Have a home worth returning to. Everything else, names, faces, the shape of your hull, slips through your fingers like melted water. Ahead lies an island of frozen forest and jagged cliffs and the promise of a long, cold death. Something watches from the shadow. Survive it. Remember who you are and find your way home. Let me know if the music is too loud. I think it might be slightly loud, huh? Let's leave that down. Alright, let's go ahead and play.
Finally. I am Hugin. Thought. Yours specifically. The only part of your mind Odin left you. Your memory wakes once across this island. My brother Munin. Reach the frozen passage before the blood moon peaks, or remain nothing. One problem. Fenrir's child guards the passage. Tonight it hunts the whole island. Can you outrun a god's wolf?
Your legs are heavy, waterlogged. You push yourself up, and the world tilts. Gray sky spinning against black rock. You steady yourself, breath misting in the freezing air. Every movement drags the weight of your soaked wool and linen. The cold bites through to your skin, 1,000 needles pricking your arms and legs. You are alive, but the sea has left its mark. Around you, the Drakkar lies broken. Splintered timber and torn canvas scattered across the shore like the guts of a great beast. Further down, bodies wash in the surf, pale and still. A smear of red leads up the rocks nearby.
I did notice
To the north,
things are slightly
cliffs
different.
rise higher, promising a view of the land. South, the shore curves toward a beach. East, a dark forest looms at the edge of your sight. The sun hangs low. You have hours, but the light is already pale.
Cold? Good. The dead don't feel it. You have time to shiver, Chosen. But not much.
There you go. The Raven's actually saying something. Yeah, I think there is a slight difference in the narration because every time I've been playing like multiple playthroughs, every time reloading, the audio is coming obviously from the server. That's what the developer just said earlier. So I definitely also noticed the person speaking slightly changed sometimes. Because I had a different narrator who had I guess a cough-ish-like voice. I don't know how to describe it. Okay, let me show you the map here. Click on that once. And that's telling us that we are here. And then there to the south of us is a beach. And to the east of us, there's a dark forest. So those are my options. I guess I could go north, but I don't... It does say north, right? But there's no location point of interest to roll over there. This is my character sheet. And my current status, I've got hypothermia. Oh, it's risk. I don't have it yet, but I'm at risk of hypothermia. I've got wet clothing. Don't remember my name. I don't remember anything else. Backstory. We've read the backstory earlier. And these are the abilities we saw earlier when picking the character. And these are the things that's currently in my inventory. I came with an axe. My clothes are soaked. I have a skin pouch. This is the glossary. And Hugin is the crow. That's the only character we've met so far. These are the only known locations. This is all the lore stuff. You can click on any of them to learn and read. Yep, so if you're into RPG, you can just read all the different lores. Kind of neat, right? Viking lores. Lots of stuff to read here. Read about Thor, too, huh? Right, and then... items. These are the items that I know about. Okay, and let's go ahead and take this off. And let me show you an example of how the voice thing works. And I disabled the local transcription. So what's happening is when you do your microphone recording, the audio gets sent to their server, and then their server does the transcribing. I did notice that when I did my test offline, having this off, it did a really good job of transcribing what I said. When I was using the experimental, where it transcribes it locally, it's not as perfect, and then you have to go in and fix it with your keyboard. So we'll leave that off, I guess. And then the buttons here takes you back to the library and this exit. You want to exit this screen, I suggest the developer stick in like a little X box right here, but you could just click off to the side to do it. I didn't know that when I first played, so I accidentally hit this back to library. So to get off the screen, you go like this. Alright, so let's go ahead and test out the microphone. Let me try it again. I just recorded. So because I'm streaming this and I'm making comments and also talking to you guys in chat, generally the voice is not good for me because I'll just make weird comments that will not be related to the story. So I don't want to do that, but we're gonna use this to test just to show you how it works. Take a look around and search the bodies. Alright, okay. And then I'm going to submit this.
You scan the wreckage-strewn shore. To the north, the path climbs toward higher cliffs. South, the shoreline curves toward what looks like a beach. East, the dark forest waits at the edge of sight. The sun hangs pale and cold at its zenith. Noon, but the light offers little warmth. Your gaze settles on the smear of red leading up the rocks nearby. You follow it, boots slipping on frost-slick stone, until you reach the body. The Viking lies broken on the cliff's edge. His head is gone. His chest is a ruin of torn meat and exposed white ribs. One leg ends in a ragged tangle of flesh below the knee. The blood around him is blackening in the cold, but the violence is fresh. This happened last night. Whatever did this was strong enough to tear a man apart.
This is different.
A messy death, but quick. Better than freezing, wouldn't you say?
This is different.
You search the remains despite the gore. Your fingers close on a knife at his belt, a sharp sea axe. In a pouch, you find flint and steel. His furs are soaked and bloodied, but still serviceable. On his remaining arm, a silver ring catches the light.
Yeah, so what's really interesting is in my other playthroughs, the speech, the text, was completely different. And there was talk of seaweed earlier, right? So it does make things different. Oh, they need to fix so the speaker not only is in left ear in headphones. Is the speaker only in your left ear? Really? And the Raven is only in the right ear? Oh, you're suggesting that the speaker is talking left and the Raven's talking to the right. That need to be in both ears. Okay. Really? I didn't even notice the left and the right side, huh? Alright, let's see here. We're gonna type in search the beach. Because there's seaweed that I want to look for. It didn't have seaweed over here. Oh, we're going towards the beach. No, that's not what I want. Not what I want.
You leave the bloodied rocks behind, descending the path toward the shore. The terrain softens underfoot, black stone giving way to pale sand and packed earth. The wind here is less cutting, though it still carries the bite of the northern sea. The afternoon sun hangs low, casting long, cold shadows across the beach. Tidal pools glimmer like scattered mirrors, trapped between dark rocks. Gulls wheel overhead, their cries sharp against the constant rhythm of the waves. Driftwood lies scattered in heaps, the sea's offering, bleached and dry. Seaweed carpets the waterline, thick and slick. This place is alive compared to the cliffs above, but it is still a graveyard of sorts. You begin your search, boots sinking into wet sand. The tide is out, exposing the pools. In one shallow basin, something skitters. A crab, dark shell and fast. You snatch it before it can bury itself. Further along, a tangle of kelp and dried seaweed lies high above the waterline, useful for fuel or binding. Driftwood is plentiful here, a broken spar, thick enough to burn. You gather what you can, the cold seeping into your fingers as you work.
Okay, so time did pass since we went south.
Near the water's edge, something catches your eye. A shape half buried in sand and foam. You approach. A man lies there, trapped under a heavy piece of hull planking. His skin is waxen, lips blue. He barely breathes. This is no corpse, not yet. Hypothermia has him in its grip. And without
this is
warmth,
different.
He will join the dead before sundown.
There's a man here. Last time I didn't find the guy. Okay, interesting. But yeah, time did lapse. We moved
Another
from here to
one.
here.
The sea is greedy today. He's cold, chosen. Cold as the stones. Fire warms the living. The dead, they just burn.
Okay, there's also little things that you click on down here, too. That was from back further up north. That's the other bit. This is the man that just found. This game is a reading simulator? No. This game is kind of like a role-playing game where it's a chat GPT-like. You are talking to an AI game master. So you have a dungeon master, which I explained earlier at the beginning of stream. Since you're just tuning in, you're not figuring out what's going on here. But the game responds to whatever you're requesting. And so whatever you ask for or you type, the more you type in, whatever it is, it basically reacts to you, and then it gives you the story. There is a direction flow to the story, and there are different variables. So it makes it interesting because you can replay this, and I've replayed this a few times already. I did get pretty far on my other playthrough offline. And so each time I did a test run just to see if it's working or not, or messing around with this, I have noticed the narrator does not just read something that is scripted. It is generated on the fly. And earlier, the game was lagged. There's a high load. It uses a server. So apparently it was stuck. And so the game text does not come back to us, and the audio didn't come back to us. So everything is right now being generated on the server side, including the audio files. They are making the audio files on the fly. Now, the Raven is just kind of... I am not the Raven. I am the Chosen, which is this character here, which you missed earlier. At the start of the stream, I got to choose between a male and a female. I could have made my own character, but I didn't want to go through with that whole process. It just pops up some QR code. It takes me somewhere. I can generate my own character and then use my own character instead. But I picked the female character. She's a shield maiden. This is her backstory. You can read that. I read that earlier. And then these are her abilities or attributes or whatever, her stats. This is my bag, my inventory. And it slowly fills up for you, so I don't have to like manually say collect or pick up or whatever it is. It does have that old adventure game style, like back in the days, Zork, or these other games that I used to play, because I used to work at a massive multiplayer gaming company, and they were MUD-based, and so you would type in whatever it is, or click on, UI buttons on the screen and move around. Kind of like Ultima Online, basically. This company I worked at was before Ultima Online. So a lot of the stuff was type-based, and then that was way before me. So when I got hired, I was working on the graphical user interface on top of a MUD-style system. So it's kind of like that. You type in what you want, you move around, like look around, you pick up, you walk left, walk right. So in this version, this is a little bit more advanced, right? Because now you can actually talk with your microphone. It types it out for you. You submit it, and then the server spits back like a GM, Game Master, telling you what happens. So it's kind of like that. And this is the glossary of things that you've discovered. Locations, lores, and items. Right? And then at the top here, this is story points. So the game has certain points in the game that require you to roll a dice, like, you know, a typical RPG or role-playing game in real life. When you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, occasionally you'll have to roll a dice for skill check, whatever, right? Dice test. You can use your story points to shift the dice roll in your favor, either re-roll or add a success point. Now, I rolled really terribly once, and I should have just hit the re-roll option, but I spent points, and it kept failing and failing, so I used up all 3, and it still failed. So this doesn't guarantee you a fail when it adds to your dice. It's just add 1 automatic success, which is not necessarily success. It just adds points to your dice roll. So I recommend just re-rolling if you got like a 1, because adding a story point did not increase my success chance. And then I can use story points to rewind something and go back and redo the whole thing. That's story points. The location here is beach. Time is time of the day. I started off at noon. This is my status. I don't have hypothermia. I'm at risk. So one of my other playthrough was I actually went into the forest. This is my first time going to the beach. So I don't know what to expect here, because this is the first time I've discovered a guy. So let's see here. We found a guy. He's also got hypothermia. And there's food here, right? Can I create a campfire? There's driftwood here, right? So let's type in... Oh, and the button right here has suggestions. So if you don't know what to put in as an input, you're typing in random words, right? Or random suggestions, right? The game will just, you know, give you fluff back and kind of guide you towards what you need to do. So here, it will give you some suggestions. So some of the suggestions aren't all there. In this case, it actually tells you to build a campfire. I had to figure out how to build a campfire in one of my other playthroughs. It didn't give me a suggestion when I was in the forest. Inspect the dying man for signs of life. Okay. Alright, well, I guess that's fine. Let's do that. The images that the AI generate, I don't know, because the images are the same.
You kneel beside the man, the wet sand soaking your knees. The piece of hull that traps him is heavy, slick with seawater and salt. You press 2 fingers to his throat, searching for a pulse beneath the cold, waxen skin. For a long moment, you feel nothing. Then, a faint throb. Slow, irregular, barely there. His breathing is so shallow his chest barely rises. Each breath a ghost of white mist that vanishes instantly in the wind. His lips are blue, his skin pale as a drowned fish. Hypothermia has its claws in him deep. He won't last long without warmth.
A flickering candle in a storm. He's slipping away, chosen. Can you hear the Norns weaving? They're cutting his thread short.
Okay, so the question asked was, are the images AI generated? Well, so far, all the images that I've seen are already pre-made. They're exactly the same every time I played. The only thing that I noticed were varying are the story texts. The narrator does change the story that he tells you. And some objects he kind of leaves out until you ask for more information to get those objects. Like the seaweed on that last location. When I did a look around, one of my other playthroughs, it actually told me that there were some seaweeds at that previous location. I found the seaweed here at this location. So that is something that is different. And if you're just tuning in and you don't know, this OMEA is a story library of different a library of different stories. It's an RPG game. So this happens to be the Viking story. They plan on adding other stories, and you can kind of see that from the trailer. I'm only playing the one that's currently available. So whatever I'm playing right now isn't always going to be the game that you may end up playing if you do buy the game later at some point in the future. It might be into more fairy tale stories or something like that. And this is just the Viking story to show off the game engine. Alright, can you hear the Norns? The Norns hate the web that the Norns weave for every soul. Interesting. They're cutting his thread short. Okay. Let's build a campfire. And eat the food. Eat the seaweed. Seaweed. Oh, it has a spell checker built in too. Dry off. Move the body closer to the campfire. Try that.
You drag the heavy driftwood into a sheltered hollow between two rocks, piling it high to catch the wind and shield the flame. The wood is damp from the sea, but the center is dry enough to catch. You pull the flint and steel from your pouch, your fingers numb and clumsy.
Okay, ignite the damp driftwood before the cold flame. Roll the dice. Good, right? Yes, I'll take it. Yes.
The flint strikes true. A spark catches in the dry heart of the driftwood, flaring bright against the gray afternoon. You nurse the flame, feeding it smaller scraps until it roars. A hungry orange beast that pushes back the cold. The heat hits you like a blow, driving the numbness from your fingers. You strip off your soaked wool and furs, spreading them near the blaze to steam and hiss as the water leaves them. The seaweed you gathered roasts on a flat rock near the fire, turning from slimy green to crisp, edible strands. With the fire established, you turn to the dying man. The piece of hull is heavy, but adrenaline lends you strength. You heave it aside, then drag him closer to the warmth. You wrap him in your own drying furs, placing him near the flames. Color begins to return to his waxen skin. His breathing deepens. The ghostly white mist of his breath steadying. His eyes flutter open, bleary and confused.
Cold. So cold. The waves. They took the ship. You, God, you pulled me from the black water. I owe you.
Adept, paid in fire. Now you have a witness chosen. 2 eyes are better than 1.
A little different. So one of the other thing that I did in an offline playthrough, when I was at that last location, I ate the seaweed raw. I didn't know, right? So I didn't know I had to cook it or anything like that. And I just like, oh, eat seaweed, right? And my character went and just grabbed the seaweed and chowed down on it right from the water. And then I had some sickness, nausea or whatever. But I also found mead in that last location. I don't have mead here. Maybe I need to go back and search for the mead. And, okay, so the thing about the art generation, I don't know if it's missing something or if the system is supposed to generate art for you. Because one of the things that I also did on my other playthrough was I picked up the ore. Oh, I should go back and get the ore. Because I had the ore as my spear, and I added the silver ring on top of the ore, because they were talking about the wolf, right, that I need to kill later. And this makes a really good weapon against the wolf. So it generated a new piece of item that had no artwork. It was like a silver ring on an ore. So I don't know if it's supposed to generate new art or not. But maybe the developer can answer that question, because he was just here a second ago. I have a new companion now, right? I'm warming up, drying clothes, no name. Look around the beach for anything else. Ores, mead. And hook the crab.
You scour the beach while the fire crackles, kicking through driftwood and seaweed heaps. No oars. The sea took anything useful. Only splintered timber and broken planks remain. No meat either. The barrels are smashed, their contents lost to the waves or drunk by the ocean. You find nothing but more sand and salt. The crab you caught earlier clicks its claws in the sand. You skewer it on a sharpened stick and hold it over the flames. The shell turns bright red, and the smell of cooked meat fills the air, rich and savory.
I think this is really cool, because back in the days, these type of games...
Smells like life. I haven't eaten since before the storm. My thanks, Odd.
Better than raw. Raw crabs bring fever. You're learning to survive, Chosen. Slowly.
Nice. I didn't need it raw. So as I was saying, it's like back in the days, these adventure games that's text-based, you know, like King's Quest. I don't know if you guys, know what I'm talking about. There are text-based games back in the days, and you had to, like, type in stuff, and the game was already pre-scripted. There's no AI that, spits back. It's, the computer, the NPC, or whatever it is, will have, like, pre-scripted text, and you're trying to talk to, like, the game, and if it doesn't know how to respond to whatever words that you're typing, it will just spit back some random gibberish, or it just loops itself. I like this because at least it's using like some chat GPT-like AI or game master or narrator that is trying to understand what you're saying, and then he formulates some sort of story to I guess, react to what you're saying. That makes a lot more sense than a repeated text that frustrates you. So this is kind of slightly better than what it used to be back in the old days. Alright, so now I have everything here. Let's go back to the... Go back to the other place called Forge something? Forge? Search for the ore and meat. Go back north. Forge. Rex. See how that goes. It was discovered, but I was already here. Oh, we need to collect the ropes,
leave
too.
The fire and the warmth behind, climbing the path back toward the fjords. The light has changed.
Fjord.
The sun dipped lower, painting the black rocks and gray sky in deep amber and bruised orange. Golden hour. The wind is colder here, cutting through your drying clothes. You arrive at the wreck site. The Drakar's ribs jut from the water like the bones of a leviathan. Bodies lie scattered on the shore, pale and still in the fading light. The air smells of salt, rot, and old wood. You begin your search, kicking through debris and splintered timber. The sea has claimed much, but not everything. Half buried in the sand near the waterline, you find it. A broken oar, splintered at the blade, but
look at that, I
solid
got
enough
the
in the
meat.
shaft. Further up, near the shattered hull, a leather flask rolls free of the wreckage. The stopper is tight. You pull it. The scent of fermented honey rises, sharp and sweet. Mead. A gift from the gods, or a cruel joke.
Okay. And then the other thing too we want to do is take the ropes.
The ship. She was a good vessel. Now she's just driftwood and ghosts. You found drink? Might warm the blood.
Honey wine for the dying. A fitting last meal, don't you think? Or perhaps fuel for one last foolish stand.
Okay. Search for rope. What else? What else can we take? What are the suggestions? Search the scattered bodies for anything useful. Follow the trail. Oh, yeah. Search body for anything useful. Take the rope.
You turn your attention to the other bodies scattered among the wreckage. The tide has claimed some, dragging them back into the gray surf. But others remain stranded on the black rocks. You search them one by one, a grim harvest in the dying light. Most are stripped by the sea, or lack anything of use. Water-ruined pouches, shattered weapons. One man, half buried in sand, still clutches a length of thick rope and a frozen death grip.
Yeah, the
You pry
voice
his fingers
changed
loose.
a little
the
bit.
rope is heavy, hemp, salt-crusted but sound.
See how the
body
voice
wears
changed a little bit?
serviceable set of furs, less bloody than the rest. You take them. The sun touches the horizon, painting the sea in bruised purple and gold. The cold deepens, biting through your layers even as you work.
Alright, at least we got the rope, right?
They were good men. Better deaths than this. On a foreign shore. The rope is useful. We can use it to climb or bind a shelter.
The dead make good pack mules. They don't complain about the weight. Darkness comes fast and chosen. The shadows are already stretching.
Ship's rope. Examine the body. That's the other guy, right?
You approach the mangled remains on the cliff's edge. Up close, the violence is sickeningly clear. The head is gone. Not cut, but torn free at the neck, leaving jagged bone and shredded muscle. The chest cavity yawns open, ribs splayed outward like the ribs of a ship splintered on rocks. The heart is missing.
Huh.
The
Heart's
left
missing.
leg ends in a ragged mess of flesh and tendon below the knee. The wounds are not clean cuts from a blade or axe. They are tears, as if something with immense strength simply pulled him apart.
Tears. There are tears.
The blood is black and sticky, frozen in pools around the body. The smell of copper and voided bowels rises from the remains, sharp in the cold air.
By Thor's hammer, what could do this? This isn't a wolf. No wolf tears a man apart like this.
Fenrir's child, perhaps, or something hungrier. Notice the tracks chosen, leading away. Not human, not beast.
Leaf kneels beside the body, his face pale in the amber light. He points to the ground near the corpse. Deep impressions bar the frozen mud. Too large for a man, too wide for a wolf. The stride is long, inhuman.
It went north, toward the high cliffs. If we follow, we might find where it lairs. Or we might find our own deaths.
The man talking, this guy is a guy that we just found earlier, the scout. There's a narrator that is telling us the story. That's the GM who's reading the text over here. The guy, we found him earlier, this guy right here, on the previous location. We found him and we rescued him and we built a campfire and saved him. These are just images from the locations that we've discovered. So we're thinking it's wolves, right? And so we went, okay, so we went down and then we went back up. Alright, so let's craft or make a spear out of the ore with the silver ring attached to the spear at the top tip. We already collected the rope. It was already in our inventory. So once you discover the objects, you don't have to pick it up or collect.
You set to work, the golden light fading around you. The broken ore is heavy oak, splintered at the blade but solid in the shaft. You use your hand axe to split the end, creating a jagged point. The silver armoring is soft compared to the iron of your axe. You hammer it flat against a rock, then work the cold metal around the sharpened tip, trying to bind it tight. It's crude work, a weapon born of desperation. The ring slips once, gouging your palm, but you press on,
Shit.
forcing the silver to bite into the wood.
I didn't get that.
An odd choice,
My
but
palm is
iron
cut?
breaks. Silver. Maybe it bites deeper.
A wolf's bane, or just a shiny trinket on a stick? Let's see if your hands are as steady as your will.
Shit. Oh, difficulty 5. Oh, tough. I need to roll a 6, right? Shit, I didn't. Add success. Reroll. Reroll. I got a 5. Nice. What? No. Add success. Come on. And there you go. Oh, I used up my reroll and success chance. Accepted. Yeah, I kind of needed that.
The silver yields to your stubborn hammering, flattening and wrapping around the jagged oak tip until it bites deep. You lash it tight with strips of seaweed fiber, pulling until the wood groans. It holds, a crude, ugly thing, but the silver gleams dull and dangerous against the dark wood, a weapon for something that bleeds.
So in my other playthrough, it used the rope to attach the ring. Here it says it's using the seaweed.
Not pretty, but it has weight. You think silver matters? Old stories say it burns the unclean.
A pretty toy for a monster. Let's hope it bites deeper than your last words, Chosen.
Your palm stings where the silver slipped. A thin red line welling in the cold. You wipe the blood on your trousers. The sun touches the horizon, bleeding into the sea. Golden hour fades. The shadows stretch long and hungry from the forest to the east, the cliffs to the north. The cold settles in your bones.
Make a bandage. And 10.
You tear a strip from the hem of your soaked tunic, the fabric damp and rough against your fingers. Wrapping it around your bleeding palm, you pull it tight, wincing as the pressure bites. The red stain spreads slowly through the gray wool, but the flow stops. It's a crude dressing, but it will hold.
But look at that, my status says I tended the palm.
Better than bleeding into the snow. Infection kills as surely as the cold. Keep it dry.
A warrior's hands, scarred and mending,
Cool.
just like your mind. Chosen. Broken. Could perhaps not beyond repair.
The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving a bruised purple twilight in its wake. The golden light is gone, replaced by the deepening blue of evening. The wind picks up, whistling through the ribs of the dead Drakkar. The cold is sharper now, gnawing at the edges of your furs. You have fire, food, and a weapon, but the night is long, and the island is awake.
I like the fact that I don't have to read this. That is a plus for me. I don't have to like read it out loud or anything. It's narrated. All right, what do you have to suggest? Head north. Make camp here by the fire and wait out the night. Yeah, let's do that. Probably should have looked for a cave, maybe. That could have worked too.
You settle by the fire, the flames crackling against the deepening dark. The driftwood burns hot and fast, pushing a circle of warmth into the freezing air. You arrange the wet furs and spare clothing on stones around the blaze, watching the steam rise as the heat pulls the water from the wool. Leaf sits opposite you, his face illuminated by the orange glow, eyes scanning the darkness beyond the firelight.
I'll take first watch. You need to dry out. If anything comes, I'll wake you.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
The sun vanishes completely. Sundown fades into true night. The sky is a dome of black velvet, pricked by cold stars. The wind howls through the ribs of the dead Drakkar, a mournful sound like a grieving mother. You eat the roasted crab and seaweed, the food hot and salty in your mouth. The meat burns going down, spreading a sudden, fierce warmth through your chest. Your eyelids grow heavy. The cold is held at bay by the fire, but the night presses in on all sides.
Sleep, Chosen. The dead don't dream, but you still have nightmares ahead. Sweet dreams.
You drift into a fitful doze, waking at every snap of the timber or shift of the wind. Leif remains awake, motionless, his hand never far from his knife. Hours pass. The fire burns down to embers, glowing red in the dark. The cold seeps back in at the edges of your awareness. Then, a sound cuts through the wind. A long, ululating howl from the forest to the east. It is answered by another from the north. The wolves are awake, and something else moves in the darkness between them.
Odd, wake up. Did you hear that? Not wolves. Something bigger.
You open your eyes. The embers are low. The sky's begun to lighten in the east. A pale gray pre-dawn. The night is over. You survived.
All right. I survived the night. Salt? Okay.
Dawn breaks gray and cold over the fjord. The fire has died to ash, the warmth gone with the dark. You stir the embers with a stick, but they give nothing back. The air is sharp, smelling of salt and old ice. Leif stands at the edge of the light, staring north toward the high cliffs where the tracks led.
Wolves, yes. But that other sound... heavy, deliberate. It wasn't hunting the wolves, it was moving through them. Like they were beneath its notice.
A king walking among curs. Or perhaps something that eats kings. The night is over, chosen. But the trial has just begun.
Leif turns back to you, his face grim in the pale light. He gestures to the paths around you. North, the steep climb to the high cliffs where the beast's trail leads. East, the dark forest that swallowed the howls. South, the beach where you found him. And perhaps more of the ship's bounty.
We can't stay here. Exposed. If that thing comes back, your call, Odd. North for answers, east for cover, south to scavenge.
We've already searched everything, I think, south of us. Now here's the thing that I've also noticed from my other playthroughs. The suggestions aren't always accurate, or, well, they don't reveal everything. There are things that, like, I figured out on my own that the suggestions didn't include. That really helps. So keep that in mind. Suggestions are just suggestions if you're completely out of creative ideas. But you definitely want to come up with something that the game doesn't suggest to you. Let's go to the forest, right? Well, I've already gone to the forest before. I've never gone to the north side, so let's go north and see what happens. Oh. What else is in my bag? Yeah, see here, it doesn't have an icon for it.
The path north is steep, a scramble over loose scree and wind-blasted scrub. The air grows thinner and colder as you climb, the wind biting at your exposed skin. Leif follows close behind, his breath coming in short bursts, his eyes constantly scanning the rocks above. You crest the ridge and stand upon the high fjords. The view is stark and breathtaking. To the west, the ocean crashes against black cliffs that plunge straight down into the churning gray water. Below you to the south, the wreckage of the Drakkar looks like broken toys scattered on the shore. The forest stretches out dark and endless to the east. The sun is low, casting long shadows across the rocky plateau.
High ground, good for seeing. Bad for being seen. Look there, the edge of the cliff.
Leif points to a dark opening in the rock face near the cliff's edge. A burrow almost hidden by an overhang of stone. The ground around it is littered with bones. Some are small, birds and rabbits. Others are unmistakably human.
A larder, or perhaps a nursery. The beast does not hunt because it is hungry. It hunts because it can.
The wind howls through the burrow's entrance, carrying a faint, sickly sweet scent of rot. The human bones are scattered, some stripped clean, others fresh. A skull rests against a rock, its jaw open in a silent scream.
By Freya, this is where it brings them. We should burn it. Burn it all!
Oh.
The
Maybe
light
we
is
should burn
fading
him.
fast. The burrow yawns like a mouth waiting to be fed. The cliff edge offers no shelter from the rising wind. You must decide, quickly investigate the beast's lair, find a defensible position for the night, or press on before the light fails entirely.
I don't know if I want to go into the cave right away. Investigate the beast's lair, find a defensible position for the night, or press on before the light falls entirely. What are your suggestions? Search the cliff edge for a sheltered spot to camp. Oh, let's go ahead and search the burrow. Might as well.
You grip the silver-tipped spear, the cold wood rough against your palm. The wind dies as you step closer to the burrow, replaced by the heavy, wet smell of rot. The ground is uneven, crunching underfoot, small bones, brittle as dry twigs, snapping beneath your boots. The entrance is a dark maw in the rock face, just wide enough for a man to crouch through. Shadows cling to the depths, hiding whatever lies within. Lay flanks you, his sea axe drawn, his breathing shallow and controlled.
Quiet. It smells of old death. But there's something else. Fresh blood.
You peer into the darkness. The faint light of the dying sun catches a glint of metal deep inside something, but doesn't belong to an animal. The air is still, too still, as if the burrow itself is holding its breath.
A tomb for the eaten, or a trap for the living. Step carefully, Chosen. The darkness has teeth.
Oh. Need a 5+, huh? Oh god, thank you. I'll take it. Sweet.
Your eyes pierce the gloom, sharpened by the rush of adrenaline. The glint of metal resolves into a distinct shape, a finely wrought silver brooch, shaped like a raven in flight, half buried in the dirt beside a gnawed armbow. It's not Viking work. The craftsmanship is too delicate, the curves too fluid. Beside it, a pool of blood is still wet, steaming slightly in the cold air. It leads deeper into the burrow, away from the light, where the darkness seems to thicken into something solid.
That blood. Minutes old. Whatever killed him is still close.
Leaf grips your arm, his fingers digging in hard. He points not at the blood, but at the ceiling of the burrow. Deep, parallel grooves are scored into the stone, high above your head's claw marks from something massive that stood upright.
A raven of silver. A message, or merely a keepsake from a traveler who walked too far. Pick it up, Chosen, or leave it for the rats. The choice is yours.
I think we did pick it up already, right? Oh, maybe here we do have to pick it up. Usually it just goes into your inventory. Silver brooch. Not on this list. What are your suggestions? Why not both? I guess I should have just taken the silver and go deeper, right?
You crouch and snatch the silver raven from the dirt. It's freezing, the metal biting into your fingertips. The craftsmanship is strange, delicate, fluid, unlike anything forged in a northern hall. You shove it into your pouch without examining it further. Leaf tugs at your arm, his grip urgent. The fresh blood steams in the cold air, leading deeper into the dark, where the ceiling grooves mark the passage of something massive. You back away slowly, spear raised, never turning your back on the throat of the burrow.
We have it. Now we move. Before the owner comes back.
You scramble out into the sharp wind of the plateau. The burrow sits silent behind you, a dark eye in the rock. The sun has dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised purples and deep reds. The light is failing fast. To the south, the path leads back down to the wreckage of a dying fire. To the east, the forest looms black against the twilight.
Wonder if I should have searched for something
A shiny
else.
trinket. For a shiny thought. Let us hope it was worth the risk. The night does not forgive mistakes.
Okay. I wonder if I should have searched for more items. I don't know. But let's not get too greedy, right? What are your suggestions? Oh yeah, I was thinking of that one too. Go to the north forest. How about east? Why wouldn't I go east? Yeah. I'm already at the north forest. Push east, right? Yeah, go to the east. Boon the guide to warm up. Go to the forest. Scary.
You descend from the high cliffs, the steep path turning into a treacherous scramble through scree and scrub. The wind howls above, but as you drop into the tree line, the roar fades to a mournful sigh in the branches. The north forest swallows you whole. Ancient spruces and birches press close, their trunks black and gnarled, blocking what little light remains in the sky. The air is colder here, still and damp, smelling of resin and decayed leaves. Snow patches the ground in dirty mounds, hiding the uneven footing. The light is failing fast. Dusk is bleeding into night, turning the forest into a maze of shadows. To the north, the path climbs back toward the cliffs you left. To the south, the forest seems to thin slightly, letting in a grayish glow. To the east, the darkness is absolute, a wall of trees. To the west, a narrow, dark trail winds deeper into the woods.
This place feels wrong. Too quiet. The snow here, it's been disturbed. Tracks.
Leaf crouches, pointing at a patch of disturbed snow near a tree root. The print is large, larger than a wolf's, with toes too long and a stride too human. It leads east, into the deepest dark.
The Grey One's path, or something wearing its shape. Pick your way carefully, Chosen. The trees have eyes.
Trees have eyes, huh?
The cold is biting now, seeping through your damp furs. You need shelter, and soon. The eastern path offers the deepest cover, but also the greatest danger. The southern path seems clearer, perhaps leading to open ground. The northern path is a retreat to the exposed cliffs.
Where do I want to go, God? southern path seems clearer, perhaps leading to open ground. The north path is a retreat to exposed cliffs. Dusk, right? Need to start moving. Offers deepest cover, but also the your suggestion. Follow the large track east into the deep forest, south towards the open. Have any enough wood? We're healthy, right? Or we should probably go deeper. Go deep in the forest. Go deep. Hello?
The trees part abruptly, opening onto a jagged expanse of black rock slick with frozen spray. You stand at the ferry, the eastern edge of the island. The wind here is a living thing, screaming off the ocean and driving stinging needles of ice into your face. Below you, the sea heaves and churns, a dark mass of violence. 200 meters away, the frozen passage stretches across the water. A jagged bridge of white ice flows, groaning under the strain of the tide. Beyond it, on the mainland, tiny orange fires flicker in the darkness, mocking you with their warmth.
Oh, look, there's a...
There, the mainland. But the ice, it's moving. Listen to it crack.
Uh-oh.
The silence here is wrong. No birds, no gulls crying over the water. Only the wind and the constant, ominous groan of the ice shifting. The large tracks you followed end at a patch of disturbed snow near the water's edge, then vanish, as if whatever made them stepped into the air or the sea itself.
The end of the world, or the beginning. Manin waits beyond the ice, but something else waits here. Can you feel it? The weight of eyes in the dark.
Leif suddenly stiffens, gripping your arm and pointing toward the shadows between the boulders to the north. A low growl vibrates through the soles of your boots, barely audible over the wind. Something massive is moving in the darkness, just beyond the reach of the moonlight.
Odd. There. By the rocks. It's watching us.
That other one was maybe a spy? I don't know. What should we do? Back away slowly towards the forest cover. I mean, we can't cross the ice though, right? Maybe it's not a good idea, but there's something over there. Go back to the forest. I don't know. Well, the AI for the most part is making sense. I don't think there's anything here that I have encountered that's weird. The only thing that's weird is the voice changes a little bit. Or when it pronounces
You take a slow
tears,
step back,
tears.
your boots crunching
That's it.
softly on the frozen gravel. Leif mirrors you, his sea axe raised, his breath misting in the cold air. The growl deepens, vibrating in your chest like the strike of a heavy drum. The shadows between the boulders detach themselves from the dark.
It just happened. Something popped up, but I didn't get to see
A
it.
shape emerges massive, hunched, covered in matted fur that looks like wet iron. It stands on two legs, its head lowered between shoulders that are as wide as a man is tall. Yellow eyes reflect the moonlight, pupils slit like a cat's. It does not roar. It simply steps forward, placing itself between you and the safety of the forest.
By Thor's blood! It's hurting us.
The beast sniffs the air, its lip curling back to reveal jagged teeth. It takes another step, forcing you closer to the cliff edge and the churning sea below. The only way out is past it, or a desperate sprint for the tree line before it can close the distance.
Oh my god. We're not gonna make this, guys. We have to roll a 6. We need a 6. Not gonna end well, guys. Oh, we got some 6s. Nice. I'll take it. I made it. I made it. Uh-oh, it's Blood Moon.
You move before the thought fully forms, your body reacting with a speed that feels borrowed. You lunge to the left, a blur of motion, the silver-tipped spear nothing but a streak in the moonlight. The beast swipes, a massive claw tearing through the air where you stood a heartbeat ago. But you are already past it. Leaf is right on your heels, matching your impossible pace. You hit the tree line at a dead sprint, branches whipping your face, roots grabbing at your boots. Behind you, a roar of frustration shakes the very air. A sound of pure, unadulterated rage that vibrates in your teeth. But you do not stop.
The very air.
You run until your lungs burn and the cold air tastes like iron. Until the ferry is nothing but a nightmare behind you. The forest swallows you. The trees here are ancient giants. Spruces so thick they block out the sky, their needles interlocking like the bars of a cage. The light is wrung a rust-red glow filtering through the branches, casting long, bloody shadows on the snow-covered ground. The silence is heavy, not empty, but holding its breath. You stumble to a halt, chest heaving, and lean against the rough bark of a birch. Leaf collapses beside you, hands on his knees, gasping for air.
It didn't follow. Why didn't it follow?
Perhaps it knows you cannot run forever. Or maybe it prefers its meat tenderized by fear. Welcome to the Wolf Forest, Chosen, the heart of the island, and the belly of the beast.
The rust-red light of the blood moon paints the snow in shades of dried blood. The air smells of resin and something else, something copper-sharp and wild. Around you, the forest is a maze of dark trunks and hidden hollows. To the west, the path leads back toward the cliffs you came from. To the south, the trees thin slightly, perhaps leading to open plains. To the north, the forest grows denser, darker, and everywhere, the feeling of being watched.
Okay, we should probably make camp, right? Oh, and for signs of life. Not a bad suggestion. I was thinking of making a campfire, because I did that once. Seemed to be fun. Winded means tired, right? I should probably
You
make
drop
camp.
to one knee, the snow soaking through your breeches instantly. The rust-red light of the blood moon filters through the canopy, turning the forest floor into a landscape of dried blood and shadow. Your breath mists in the freezing air, mingling with the smell of pine resin and the faint copper tang of old blood.
Look here. The snow is disturbed. Not just one set of tracks. Many.
Leaf points to a patch of trampled snow near the roots of a massive spruce. The prints are a chaotic jumble small clawed marks of wolves, overlaid by the massive elongated
Music is
strides
loud.
of the beast you saw at the ferry. But there is something else. Drag marks. Heavy furrows in the snow, leading away from the clearing toward the denser darkness to the north.
A hunt. Or perhaps a feast. The wolves run, but the beast walks. Always walks.
You follow the drag marks with your eyes. They end abruptly at a tangle of briars and fallen branches. A scrap of gray wool catches on a thorn, fluttering in the wind. It looks like Viking cloth, but the blood soaking it is black in the eerie light.
I think this is just information we
Someone
already
didn't
know
make it
from
far. We should keep
lore, I
moving.
think.
Staying here feels like waiting to die.
I think this is related to the cave, though.
The forest presses in around you, silent and watchful. The drag marks lead north into the thickest part of the woods. To the south, the trees seem to thin, offering a glimpse of open, snow-covered plains. To the west, the path leads back toward the cliffs and the fjord. To the east, the way you came, the beast waits at the ferry.
Choices. Choices. Follow the death or run from it. The night is young, chosen. And so are you, for now.
Find resin, huh? Do you have any resin? Take resin? Why are you telling me about the resin? Should I take the resin? Take some resin. Apparently we don't have it in our bag.
You approach the massive spruce, its bark rough and plated like armor. In the deep crevices of the trunk, thick globules of pine resin gleam in the rust-red light, sticky and fragrant.
We did? Okay, so now we take
You
it. So we
dig
do
your
take
knife
it.
into the hardened sap, prying loose a chunk the size of a hen's egg. The scent hits you sharp, and clean turpentine and winter green cutting through the metallic smell of blood that hangs in the clearing.
Good. That burns hot, even when it's wet. We might need the warmth tonight.
You wipe the sticky residue on your trousers, the resin clinging to your fingers like a second skin. The forest remains still, the drag marks leading north into the dark, like an accusation written in the snow.
The tree bleeds, and you take its blood to keep yours warm. A fair trade, perhaps. The forest gives nothing for free.
Forest gives you nothing for free, huh? For your other choice. You know, let's go to the follow them. I think that just leads us to the cave that we were in, or the burrow earlier, but I don't know.
You push north, following the dark furrows plowed through the snow. The forest closes in around you, the rust-red light of the blood moon filtering through the dense spruce branches like blood through water. The drag marks are erratic, weaving between trees, sometimes deep where the burden was dragged, sometimes shallow where it was lifted. The silence here is absolute, broken only by the crunch of your boots and the ragged breathing of Leif behind you.
The marks are getting fresher. The blood, it's still steaming. We're catching up.
The trees seem to lean in, their branches' skeletal fingers scraping against your furs. The air grows colder, biting at your exposed skin.
Suddenly, a low growl rolls through the forest ahead of you. Not the roar of the beast at the ferry, but something closer, more intimate. The drag marks end abruptly at the base of a massive, twisted oak, its branches bare and black against the bloody sky.
The end of the trail, or the beginning of the end. Something waits in the shadows, chosen. Can you reach it before it reaches you?
Oh no! Another dice roll. Yes, we got one. We'll take it. Oh, take it. Nice. Go. Let's reach it. Slaughter it.
You burst through the last of the spruce barrier, your lungs burning with cold air, and stumble into a clearing dominated by a single, impossible tree. An ancient oak, vast and gnarled, rises from the snow like a pillar of the old world, its black branches clawing at the rust-red sky. A crude structure clings to its upper boughs, a treehouse of smoke-darkened wood, perched 4 men above the ground. A rope ladder sways gently in the wind, the only way up.
Huh.
The ground around the oak is trampled, littered with ash and small bones. Strange symbols are carved into the bark runes, deep and weathered, spiraling up the trunk. To the east, the forest thins toward a steep path uphill. To the west, the terrain dipped down into darkness. The silence here is heavy, unnatural, broken only by the distant howling of wolves echoing from the south.
By Thor's hammer! An oak? Here? It shouldn't grow this far north. And those carvings. This is someone's territory.
God's speech, the old ones called it. Or maybe just a madman's perch. Either way, Chosen, you found the heart of the maze. The question is, does the heart still beat?
I'm still winded. Cut out. All out to the treehouse to see if anyone's home. Climb the rope ladder. Treehouse platform. Well, they said something about the 4 men on something earlier. Something about 4 men somewhere. Perched 4 men above the ground. The only way up. Bark roots? Bark ruins? Magic is carved into the... Look around first. They said something about piles of bones, right? Something about piles of bones. Or I leave for a day and you start talking crows.
You crouch beside the pile of ash and bones at the base of the ancient oak. The smell here is thick, charred fat and old rot. Most of the bones are small, splintered ribs and shattered skulls of rabbits and birds, cracked open for the marrow. Mixed among them are the delicate hollow bones of ravens, their black feathers singed but not burned away.
He eats everything. Birds, rats. Look there. That's a finger bone. Human.
Leaf points with the tip of his sea axe at a slender, yellowed bone protruding from the ash. It's clean, stripped of flesh long ago. Deeper in the pile, something glints, not metal, but stone. A smooth, river-worn pebble painted with a faded red spiral.
A child's toy? or a marker for the dead. The line between the two is thin on this island. Pick it up if you like, Chosen. It won't bite, unlike the owner.
We've already picked it up. We've already gained. About, rest for a bit. Catch your... Alright, so I'm no longer winded.
You sink to the ground at the base of the ancient oak, leaning your back against the gnarled, rune-carved bark. The wood is rough and cold against your spine, but it feels solid anchoring. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the adrenaline of the chase bleed away, focusing on the rhythm of your own breathing. In, out. The rust-red light of the blood moon filters through your eyelids, a faint glow against the darkness.
We needed that. My legs feel like lead. But we can't stay long. This place, it feels like we're being watched.
Resting in the belly of the beast. Bold. Or foolish. The difference is usually a matter of seconds.
Right, well that was bold.
Leaf paces a tight circle, his eyes darting between the dark forest edges and the swaying rope ladder above. The wind picks up, rustling the dry branches of the oak with a sound like whispering voices. High above, smoke curls from a hole in the treehouse platform, carrying the scent of burning pine and something else herbs, sharp and medicinal. Your breath slows. The cold still bites, but the fire in your blood has settled. You are ready to move again.
Alright, let's climb the tree, right? Search the ground around the oak for more. Let's do that before climbing up, right? Mac, sort of. Not. It's already a story that has a beginning, ending, and different story points.
You kneel in the trampled snow, scanning the frozen earth around the ancient oak. The ground is a mess of boot prints, old and new, overlapping like an argument in the dirt. Near the bone pile, the snow is stained dark where blood is soaked in, frozen into black ice.
Look here. These prints, they're deep. Someone heavy or carrying something, and they go up and down often.
Leaf points to the worn patch of earth beneath the rope ladder. The soil is packed hard, polished smooth by countless feet. Scattered around the roots are small offerings, twigs tied in intricate knots, feathers bound with thread, and smooth stones arranged in deliberate patterns.
See how the
A shrine
AI is
to the
breaking
old
up his
gods,
voice? It's
or
kind
a
of
warning
weird.
to the new ones. The locals leave gifts to keep the wolves from the door, or perhaps to keep the door closed on what's inside.
Near the trunk, half buried in a
Really
drift,
weird how the
you
AI
spot the edge
starts
of something leather.
breaking
You dig it
his
free with your
voice.
glove a small pouch, heavy and waterlogged. The leather is stamped with a symbol you don't recognize, a stylized raven in flight.
Okay, so
Loot or a trap? Open it carefully, Odd. If this belongs to the one who lives up there, he'll know it's gone.
The rope ladder creaks
Interesting.
above you, swaying in a sudden gust of wind. The smell of smoke and herbs drifts down, stronger now. High above, a shadow moves across the smoke hole in the treehouse floor.
okay, so I was saying, to answer your question, this is an adventure game. It's designed to have an AI as your game master. He's not reading specifically per se all the different things here, because all the text, all the situations and the scenarios are generated by the AI. There are story points, so the AI has a rough idea of the beginning of the story, the surroundings, and the end. But how you get to the end and your journey through the story changes, because a lot of things, I've done multiple playthroughs already offline, and so I definitely know that the story, the script, or whatever, the AI is just not reading anything correctly. It does change over time. Certain things are different. So it just reacts to what it's trying to react like a GM would. And how a real GM kind of, has a rough idea of how he wants to guide you through the story, but he doesn't always do it the same way. So, yeah, it follows the skeleton, backbone, scripted sort of, or design story flow. But the actual text that gets you there is always different. It's definitely different. Like, I've noticed, like, it's not scripted in a specific way. The other thing, too, is this is client to server based. So there is a central server that's taking your chat input, and then on the server, it's deciding how to react to you, and then sending back to you the text, and also the audio spoken narration. The narrator, as you notice, like, the voice slightly changes in tone and everything. Is weird because, like I said, it's always different every time I've played. So the objects also don't always have a picture, which kind of hints to you that it seems to be generated on the fly. Like the torn cloth, like, I cut my palm, so I made something up, and I said, well, why don't I create a bandage, right? So the AI ripped some piece of cloth off of my my outfit, or my clothing, or whatever, right? The little bits of here and there does not have artwork. So I think the ones that do have already predetermined artwork is something that's part of the story. Anything else that you do that deviates from the story creates a little bit of this temporary placeholder. Hopefully that makes sense. You can use your microphone, right, to talk. Oops. Stop. Stop. And it transcribes whatever you're saying. So you don't actually have to type it, right? So you could do that, but it's, it's nice. It's interesting. It's like text-based. It's very cool, I think. Honestly, at some point in the future, somebody's going to make something like this. And I think this is a great idea. And, might as well be these guys, I guess, the developers here doing it. And this is just only one of the many type of stories that's in their library. So it's just not just the whatever Viking story here. If you go to their Steam page, link is in the channel at the top. I'll paste it again. So they do have a demo. It just got released this morning, and the server is a little bit overloaded earlier on. I had an advanced access or a copy of the game by a week, so I was testing this for a few days and giving developer feedbacks on things, specifically the settings, which I already went over earlier. All right, so here, going back to the story, there's a small leather pouch. Did we get it? We gained that, right? We got the pouch. Yeah, we did get the pouch. Okay, so here described that there's a treehouse. We can try to climb to the treehouse with a rope. And we already looked at the bone piles, soils, patch, blah, blah, blah. Offering twigs, intricate knots, feathers, blah, blah, blah. Something in the something leather. You dig it free with your gloves. A small pouch, heavy, waterlogged. The leather is stamped with a symbol you don't recognize, stylized with a raven in flight. So I gained the pouch. Loot or a trap. Open it carefully, and if this belongs to the one who lives up there, he'll know it's gone. Oh. But I don't think it belongs to the one up there, though. Maybe we can return it to him? The rope ladder creaks above you, swaying in sudden gusts of winds. Okay. Maybe we should go up, right? What's your suggestion? Open the pouch, see what's inside, climb the rope. Open the pouch. So the game does give you suggestions that you can click on, and as I mentioned earlier, you can come up with your own ideas.
You pull the drawstring, the leather stiff with cold and age. Inside, the scent of dried sage and something earthier mold and crushed roots wafts up. The pouch contains a small bundle of dried leaves wrapped in cloth, a sharp sliver of flint, and a single smooth bone carved with the same raven symbol stamped on the outside.
Herbs! And a carving. This belongs to the one in the tree. He'll know we took it.
A thief's reward, or a down payment on a conversation. The owner is watching, chosen. He saw you take it.
Above you, the rope ladder creaks again, louder this time, as if weighted down. A face appears at the smoke, whole a wild mane of gray hair, pale eyes reflecting the blood moon light, and then vanishes just as quickly. The smell of burning pine intensifies, drifting down like a heavy curtain.
Did you see that? He's there. We should go, now, before he decides to drop something heavier than smoke.
I don't know, I think the story is kind of leading you to believe that that guy's bad, that we're stealing from him. But what if we just return it to him, right? So what I was saying is the suggestions aren't always giving you things that you could be doing. So if you do think of other things, you might get a different reward choice. Different results. Like right now I can't think of anything else that's different from the suggestion, but I have come up with things that's different, that I benefited from coming up with my own thing, right? Let's go up to the rope. I wouldn't say confront him. I would say return the bag to him, right? Maybe he'll give us a reward. Lots of carvings in this
You
area.
grip the rough hemp of the rope ladder, the fibers biting into your gloves. The wood creaks and sways as you pull yourself up, hand over hand, the cold wind nipping at your face. Below, Leif swears under his breath and grabs the ladder below you, his weight adding a heavy tug to the ropes. As you crest the platform, the smell of smoke and dried herbs envelops you. The treehouse is a cramped, cluttered space walls lined with bundles of drying plants, shelves cluttered with bones, stones, and carved wood. In the center, a fire pit smolders, casting long, dancing shadows against the rune-carved logs.
You climb, you take, and now you stand in God's speech, bold, or very hungry.
The hermit stands by the fire, a wild figure in patchwork furs, his gray hair tangled with bones and feathers. His pale eyes fix on you, then drift to the pouch in your hand. He doesn't move to stop you, merely tilts his head as if listening to a voice only he can hear.
He speaks to the air. You speak to him. And I fade. The living have no time for ravens when there's a madman to stare at.
Hugin's form flickers and dissolves into the smoke, gone as if he never was. The hermit's eyes widen slightly at the empty space where the raven perched, then return to yours.
The bird sees. The bird knows. But you are the one who walks. Why have you come to the God Speaker, Strandwalker? To ask the way, or to ask the price?
We're looking for a way off this rock, and answers. You know what hunts here. We've seen it.
The walker, the hunter, the eater. Yes, I know them all. But answers have a cost, little warrior. What do you bring to the fire?
Return the pouch. Or what is it called? Small leather or something? I don't know, I'm guessing. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know, because I didn't get this far in the my other playthrough.
You hold out the small leather pouch, the drawstring loose in your palm. The hermit's pale eyes flick down to it, then back to your face, the wild tangle of his hair shifting as he tilts his head.
You took it, and you give it back. Most keep what they find, especially when it shines.
His weathered hand closes over the pouch, his fingers cold and rough against yours. He tucks it into his belt with a nod, the tension in his shoulders easing by a fraction.
A fair trade. Respect for respect. The All-Father sees such things, even when men do not.
I thought we were dead for sure. He doesn't look like he forgives easily.
Forgiveness is for the gods. I'm only the speaker. You have questions, Strandwalker. I can hear them rattling in your skull, like stones in a cup. Ask.
Okay, what should we ask him, guys? Now's the time. Oops. Oops, no. What do we want to ask him?
Who am I? I am the echo in the empty hall. The voice when no one speaks.
Torolf pokes the fire with a stick, sending a shower of sparks up toward the smoke hole. The light dances across the rune tattoos on his hands, twisting and turning like living things.
I am Torolf, God Armada, the God Speaker. I came when the voices grew too loud in the south, too soft in the north. Here the All-Father whispers.
Who's this Alpha?
God Speaker. I've heard of men like you. Madmen who eat mushrooms and see giants.
Oh, Odin.
The mad see what the sane ignore. I am here because the island is hungry, Strandwalker. It has always been hungry, but lately, it eats differently.
He fixes his pale blue eyes on you, his gaze piercing, as if looking past your skin and into the blood beneath.
You feel it. The wrongness in the snow. The thing that walks but is not a man. I watch it. I wait. Sometimes I warn. Now, you have returned what was lost. Respect is paid. What do you seek from the God Speaker? A way off the rock, or a way into the dark?
A way off the rock or a way... Yeah, mushroom? Hmm. Treasure. What is this? Treasure train. I've never seen a treasure train.
You extend your hand, palm up. The cut from the earlier climb is red and angry, the skin raw where the rough hemp rope burned against it.
The flesh remembers the rope, and the rope remembers the weight. A small pain. pain is the teacher.
Torolf reaches into one of the many pouches hanging from his belt and pulls out a small clay jar. He uncorks it, revealing a pungent, green-smelling paste. With a finger stained by crushed herbs, he smears a thin layer over your palm. The contact is sharp at first, a stinging burn like nettles, but it quickly fades into a dull, cooling numbness.
Yarrow and comfrey to knit the skin. The island tries to open us. We must learn to close.
I've seen shipwrights use tar for cuts. Never smelled anything like that.
Tar seals the wood. This seals the blood. Different things, Strandwalker. The hand is whole. Now, what will you grasp with it?
That bit was a little weird because my palm was cut from earlier, not from the climb, but I guess the AI figured that was climb related. What else can I offer? Ask about the painted full stone. Stone pebble.
You hold out the smooth river stone, the faded red spiral catching the firelight. Torolf leans in, his pale eyes narrowing as he studies the paint.
The spiral. The path that never ends. A child's toy. Left for the dead.
That was weird.
He reaches out with a trembling finger, tracing the red line without touching the stone. His expression softens, the wildness in his eyes settling into something like sorrow.
The old grandmother. She had grandchildren once. They are gone now. The fever took them on the mainland. This stone remembers them.
Children? Here? I thought only the mad and the damned lived on this rock.
Yeah, I was probably thinking.
The island takes what it is given. Sometimes it gives back. Keep the stone, Strandwalker. It is lighter than a memory, but heavier than a promise.
Torolf pulls his hand back, turning his gaze to the fire. The flames cast long shadows across his face, making the runes on his skin seem to writhe.
You have the stone. You have the silver. But do you have the stomach for what comes next? The night is not done with you.
We haven't met her yet, but here it talks about who is Ama. Weird. It just introduces the character that we don't know.
Torolf pokes the fire, the flames licking at the dry wood with a soft hiss. He doesn't look up immediately, his gaze fixed on the shifting coals as if reading patterns in the heat.
Amma, the grandmother. She is the memory in the Sorgus. The grief house.
He gestures vaguely south, beyond the forest walls, toward the open plains.
She is the mother of the one who tends the fire there, Sigrid. A hard woman, forged by loss. But Amma is old. She has buried too many.
Okay, so she's...
The stone you mentioned. The grandchildren.
Aye. Eric and Dalla. The fever took them on the mainland. 3 winters past. They were small things. The stone was all that came back across the ice.
Torolf looks up, his pale eyes meeting yours with a sudden, sharp intensity.
Now she burns with it again. The same fever. Sigrid walks the night, looking for herbs that do not grow in winter. Why do you ask, Strandwalker? Do you seek the dead, or the dying?
What are my other suggestions? Huh. All of a sudden it's leading to something I have no clue about. That was a slight spoiler, I think. Yeah.
The firelight dances in Torol's eyes as he leans forward, the shadow stretching his rune-tattooed skin into something older and wilder. He speaks
so
low,
weird.
as if the trees themselves might hear.
That is so weird, the voice. The narrator just started choking or something.
The Walker. The Eater. The child of Fenrir. You ask how to kill what cannot die.
Nothing cannot die. Everything bleeds if you cut deep enough.
True, but some wounds close before the blood hits the snow. Steel, iron, it bites, but the hunger heals it.
Torolf picks up a piece of silver from his belt pouch, holding it up so the blood moon glints off its pale surface.
This. The moon's metal. It burns the walker, a wound from silver that stays open. That bleeds. True. And fire. The oldest fear. The beast remembers the fire that forged the world. It fears the flame.
Huh. Okay. Now we know.
Silver and fire. We have the spear. But fire, we need to be close.
Alright, give me a second. I got
Close is
somebody at
where
my
the
door here.
teeth are. But you have the silver, Strandwalker. The question is, do you have the courage to burn?
Alright, back. Sorry, I had to let the maintenance guy in to fix my AC. So what happened here? Fire. We need to figure out how to get the fire, right? Close is where the teeth are, but you have silver, blah, blah, blah. Questions, do you have burn? You do have the resin, right? Oops, I have the resin from earlier. Catches flame easily and burns hot. Wrap it around a branch torch that will burn long and strong. Use it to help put... Okay, alright. So what we can do is... We need to probably go get some wood and put the resin on there and try to light it. See, let's take this since we're already here. See if that's going to help or not.
Torolf's eyes flicker to the fire, then to you. measuring the weight of your request against the silence of the trees.
The fever root. It grows on the high cliffs, where the wind bites the stone. I have some. Dried. Kept for the winter that never ends.
He turns to a bundle of herbs hanging from the rafters, his fingers deft despite their tremble. He selects a twisted brown root, snapping off a piece and wrapping it in a scrap of cloth.
Take it. But know this. The root fights the fever, but the island fights the living. You walk into the dark with a candle in your hand.
A kindness. Why give it? We're strangers.
Because the dead do not need medicine. And the living are the only ones who can change the story. Go now. The moon is high, and the walker is hungry.
Okay. Let's see here. Share? Mead? With Hermit? Cook? Seaweed?
You pull the stopper from the mead flask, the sweet, fermented smell cutting through the herbal smoke of the treehouse. Torolf's eyes widen slightly, his hand twitching toward the horn before he stops himself, waiting.
The honey wine. A gift from the south. You share the cup with a madman in the trees. Behold.
You offer him the flask first. He takes it with both hands, raising it to the blood moon visible through the smoke hole in a silent toast before drinking deep. He wipes his mouth with the back of a tattooed hand and passes it back.
It burns. Good. The cold has teeth tonight.
He's like all smiling.
A drop for the living. Do you think the gods drink mead, or just the blood of kings?
You take a swig yourself, the liquid fire settling warm in your belly. Then, set to work. You lay the strips of edible seaweed near the coals, letting them dry and crisp in the heat. The smell of roasting brine fills the small space. You eat, the salty crunch grounding you against the howling wind outside.
Oh shoot, our meat is empty now.
The fire crackles, popping resin. Torolf watches the flames dance, his expression unreadable. Leif shifts his weight, glancing at the rope ladder leading down into the dark.
The belly is full. The fire is warm. But the night is long, and the walker doesn't sleep.
Rest while you can, Strandwalker. Or go. The door is open. But remember, the shadows have teeth.
Okay. Ask him how get off the island.
Torolf stares into the fire, the flames reflecting in his pale eyes like embers drowning in milk. He takes a long breath, the air whistling slightly through his teeth.
The way off. The question every survivor asks, eventually. You go to Ferjay, the ferry, the eastern shore.
He points a gnarled finger toward the east, beyond the thick forest walls.
Through the wolf woods, Ulfaskoga. The trees there are thick, and the teeth, they are thicker. But the path leads to the ice.
The ice? The frozen passage we saw from the cliffs?
Aye. This flag. The flows bridge the water to the mainland, but it is a dying bridge. The cracks are opening. The sea wants it back.
Torolf leans closer, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper.
And there is another hunger waiting there. The walker. It knows the passage is the only way out. It watches the ice. To leave, you must walk through the jaws of the beast.
Huh.
So we fight our way through, or we sneak past while it eats someone else.
Or perhaps you become the meal. The island does not care who leaves, only who stays. You have the silver. You have the fire. Maybe that is enough.
Huh. Okay. Well, let's see here. What are your suggestions? Oh yeah, let's ask him about the... We don't want to leave yet, right? Ask about the bandits? We don't want to leave, though.
Torolf's expression darkens, the firelight casting deep shadows across his weathered face. He picks up a small bone, turning it over in his fingers with deliberate slowness.
The thieves. Sephrabelli. They hide in the wolf woods off Laskoga. Rats in a trap, snapping at the iron.
He tosses the bone into the fire, where it blackens and cracks with a sharp report.
3 of them, maybe 4. They came from the mainland, running from the law. Now they run from the walker. The island judges them, as it judges us all.
Men? Living men? Do they have a boat? Supplies?
They have greed. They have fear. And they have silver they stole from the dead.
Oh, it's probably the 4
But they
guys
do
that we
not
saw
have a way
earlier.
off the rock. They are trapped, and desperate men are dangerous.
Desperate men make mistakes. Or desperate allies.
Trust is a heavy cloak, Strandwalker. Wear it if you must, but know it will drag you down if you fall. Why do you ask? Do you seek their gold, or their blood?
Well, they have silver. Maybe they can help us. Oh, but they're in the caves. Oh, we found the cave earlier, right? No, we went to a different burrow earlier. Cave is new. Oh, I mean, we could try to get them as allies. Where's the cave? Where's the hut located? I don't know where this hut is. It was mentioned somewhere. Where is the cave?
The cave, Thophabelli. The thieves' lair. You seek the rats in their hole.
Torolf gestures toward the west, where the forest thickens into a black wall of spruce and pine. The firelight casts long, dancing shadows across his rune-tattooed skin.
Deep in Laskoga, the wolf forest. Follow the path where the trees grow close enough to hide the sky. Look for the rock that looks like a skull, half buried in the snow. The cave mouth yawns beneath it.
Wolf Forest. That's where the tracks were. The ones that weren't wolves.
Aye. The walkers and the thieves, sharing the same dark. Be careful, Strandwalker. Desperate men with silver blades are almost as dangerous as the beast itself.
Leaf shifts his weight, his hand resting on the hilt of his sea axe knife. He looks toward the rope ladder, then back at you.
He's trying to, like, get
Do we
the hell
go
off.
hunting for bandits or head for the ferry? The night isn't getting any younger.
Yeah, the story is kind of like hinting you to leave. Yeah, he's like, ladder, rope ladder, you want to leave? Make, a torch with the resin and wood. And dry the fur.
You select a sturdy length of driftwood from the pile and scoop the thick golden pine resin from your pouch. The resin is tacky and smells of deep forests.
You smear it generously over the wood's tip, then wrap it with strips of birch bark to hold the fuel tight. A spark from your flint catches the resin instantly.
Flaring up with a hot, bright hiss.
Crafted a torch from the wood resin.
You spread the sodden furs near the fire pit, turning them carefully to let the heat drive out the seawater. Steam rises in thick clouds,
That does not look like a
smelling of
torch.
salt and wet wool. Slowly, the heavy mats begin to soften and dry, losing their icy stiffness.
What can I do with a fur?
Good light. The resin burns hot, even in the wind. We'll need that in the wolf woods.
Fire is the first weapon. The second is knowing when to use it. The furs will keep the blood warm. Warm blood is slow blood.
We have the root for the grandmother. We have the spear for the beast. Do we go to the plains first, or push through the dark to the ferry?
He's trying to, like, get me to leave. Where the fur has armor. I don't know if we can craft the fur into armor.
You pull the dried furs over your shoulders, the stiff wool scratching against your skin before settling into a heavy, warm layer. You wrap them tight around your chest and waist, securing them with the hemp rope to create a makeshift armor that holds in your body heat and offers some protection against teeth and claws. The smell of smoke and sea salt clings to you now, a warrior's cloak for the night ahead.
Better. You looked like a drowned rat before.
Okay,
Now you look like a bear that's had a hard winter. Will it stop a bite?
Nice, look at that. We got new status.
It will slow the teeth. Give you a heartbeat to strike back. A heartbeat is all the difference between a saga and a silence.
Leaf checks his own gear, tightening the straps on his sea axe knife. Torolf watches you both, his head tilted as if listening to the wind howling through the branches outside.
The fire burns low. The moon hangs heavy. Where does the shield maiden walk next? To the grandmother in the plains, or through the wolf woods to the ice?
Okay. What's the other guy's name?
You take the silver raven brooch, the metal cold and heavy in your palm. Using the edge of your sea axe knife, you score a groove into the wooden handle of the hand axe just below the blade head. With a few sharp strikes, you hammer the silver clasp into the wood, the soft metal flattening and gripping the haft. It's crude, but the silver edge now runs along the base of the iron blade. A deadly surprise for anything that bleeds.
Oh, look at that.
A silver bite. You trust me with this?
Leaf takes the modified axe, testing the weight. He swings it experimentally, the silver catching the firelight as it passes.
It balances true. If the beast comes close enough, I'll make sure it remembers this edge.
Ah, cool.
The moon's metal on the hunter's tool. A fine gift. Now he carries the light in his hand, not just on his back.
Torolf watches Leaf with a faint, unreadable smile, then turns his gaze back to the dying fire. The wind howls outside, rattling the smoke hole cover.
The night stretches long, and the wolf woods wait. Do you rest until the fire fades, or walk into the dark while the blood is high?
Okay, so now he wants us to rest. Furs. Well, I mean, we don't need to rest. Let's just go. Ask him for one final piece of advice before leaving.
Torol stares into the dying embers, the firelight casting long shadows across his rune-tattooed face. He takes a slow breath, the air whistling through his teeth.
Advice. The one thing everyone asks for, and the one thing no one follows.
He looks up, his pale eyes locking onto yours with a sudden, piercing intensity.
The wolf woods are thick with teeth, but the ice is thin with death. If you run, you may live. If you fight, you may die. But if you do not choose, the island chooses for you. And the island is hungry.
Meaning we pick our poison.
Aye. The silver bites. The fire burns. But only if you are close enough to strike. Can you look into the eyes of Fenrir's child and not blink?
He gestures toward the rope ladder, the darkness of the forest yawning below.
Go now. The moon watches, and so does the walker.
Okay, let's go to the lady. What's that thing? We have the thingy for the lady, right?
You grip the rough hemp of the rope ladder, the fibers biting into your palms as you swing over the edge. The wind catches you immediately, a cold hand pushing at your back. Below, the North Forest is a pit of darkness under the blood-red moon, the ancient oaks and pines standing like silent sentinels around the clearing. Leaf follows close behind, the silver-edged axe slung over his shoulder. Above, Toral's face is a pale mask in the smoke hole, watching you descend into the jaws of the night.
The Wolfwoods drink the night. Walk softly, or they will drink you too.
Your boots hit the forest floor with the crunch of frozen needles. The air here is colder, damper, smelling of pine resin and something older rot and fur. To the south, the trees thicken into a wall of black trunks, the path to the wolf forest barely visible. A low growl rolls through the darkness, not close, but not far either. The hairs on your arms rise beneath the furs.
It knows we're moving. We need to run. Now.
Oh shit. I think I should have just gone to the eat. Oh no. Reroll. Oh, we're so effed. We're so effed, guys. We're so effed. Oh no, we're so effed.
You break into a sprint, boots tearing through the frozen undergrowth, but the forest is a tangled trap of roots and shadow. Before you've taken 10 strides, a massive shape explodes from the darkness
Have
to
a
your left,
bleeding
a
arm,
wall
guys.
of muscle and fur that slams into Leif with the force of a falling tree. The silver axe flies from his hand as he smashed against a pine trunk,
Yeah, we
bark
lost the axe.
shattering under the impact.
Lost the axe.
The beast is a nightmare of black fur and red eyes, its maw dripping with froth. It ignores you for the moment, focused on the prey it has pinned.
Oh no.
Leaf screams as claws rake his chest, the sound wet and terrible. He draws his sea axe.
He lost
slashing
his
down,
axe.
but
Oh,
the beast
come on.
catches his arm in its jaws and shakes him like a rag doll.
Run! Odd! Run!
He's dead
There
now.
is a sickening crunch. Leaf goes limp, the sea axe falling from useless fingers. The beast drops him, turning its massive
Oh,
head
shit.
slowly toward you. Its breath steams in the cold air.
We lost
carrying
the
stench
guy.
of raw meat and ancient rot. It takes a step, the ground trembling under its weight, and a low growl vibrates in your chest.
I have a bleeding arm and I'm terrified now. Beef is dead. Oh shit. Lost him. I probably should have just gone into the ferry and fight. Let's do both, right? Why can't I just do both? Use the torch and use the spear. Fight the beast.
You thrust the torch forward, the resin-soaked wood blazing with a hungry crackle that pushes back the shadows. The beast recoils, its red eyes narrowing as the firelight reflects in their depths, a hiss escaping its bared fangs. You lunge with the silver-tipped spear, aiming for the heart of the nightmare, the metal gleaming like a star fallen to earth. The silver tip pierces the thick fur and black hide, sinking deep into the muscle beneath. A roar of pain erupts from the creature's throat, a sound that shakes the needles from the trees. Unlike the wounds that heal before your eyes, this one bleeds, black blood smoking where the silver touches it. But the beast is not dead. Enraged, it slashes with a massive claw, swiping the torch aside and sending it spinning into the snow. You stand alone in the blood-red light, the spear still in your hand, the monster looming over you with hate in its eyes. It gathers its haunches to spring.
Oh no, kill the beast before it kills you. We're dead, guys. We are so dead. Oh, we got 6s. Oh, thank God. Massive. I'll take it. We lost beef, though. Gotta wait for the server to tell us we won. Hello? Hello? Yep. Alright, hang on. Give me a second.
You do not blink. As the beast springs, a dark mountain of fur and rage descending to crush you, you step into the leap.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I had to let the maintenance guy out. So what happened here? You do not blink. As the beast springs, a dark mountain of fur and rage descending to crush you, you step into the leaf. I win? See your fate.
The silver spear meets its chest, not with a desperate thrust, but with the certainty of a falling axe. The metal tip, guided by Odin's will or your own fury, pierces the black heart of Fenrir's child. The beast howls a sound that tears at the sky, a scream of pain and ancient hate. It hangs in the air for a heartbeat, impaled on the shaft of moon metal, its claws inches from your face. Then, it collapses.
We win, right?
The impact throws you to the ground, snow flying in a white cloud. The thrashing is terrible, a death throes that snaps nearby trees and churns the frozen earth. But you hold on, driving the spear deeper until the silver meets the spine. Slowly, the red eyes dim. The great shudders become twitches, then stillness. The black blood pools around you, steaming in the cold, smoking where it touches the silver. The forest falls silent. No more growls, no more howls, just the wind in the branches and the sound of your own ragged breathing.
I think we're alive, right? We're exhausted, but we're alive.
You pull yourself free, your arm throbbing where the claws raked you. The beast lies before you, a mountain of dead fur. It is done. The walker walks no more.
Yeah, baby, we're still alive.
The silver-tipped spear drives home, piercing the black heart of the nightmare. The beast convulses, a shudder that runs through the earth beneath your boots, and then collapses. The red eyes dim. The great chest heaves once, twice, and is still. Black blood smokes around the silver wound, hissing in the cold air. For the first time since you woke, the island is silent. No howls, no wind. Just the sound of your own ragged breathing.
It's done. Fenrir's child is dead. I didn't think you could do it. I didn't think anyone could. You know what comes now?
A shadow detaches itself from the blood-red sky. Another raven, larger than Hugin, descends on silent wings. It lands beside the black bird, feathers absorbing the moonlight. Munin. Memory. He did not wait for you to reach him. He came to you.
You killed it. In all the ages of Odin's trials, very few mortals have chosen to fight rather than flee. The Allfather did not expect this. Neither did I.
I watched them hunted. Hunted. The child of Fenrir. They found the silver. They found the fire. They read the signs. And when the moment came, when it was close enough to feel its breath, to smell the wolf blood, they didn't flinch.
One died,
Odin
though.
will find that very interesting.
That's We lost
Munin turns his
the...
obsidian eyes toward you. The weight of his gaze is heavy, pressing against the walls of your mind. The fog lifts. The memories rush back like a tide. The raid on Northumbria, the fire, the faces of your shield sisters, the hall in Norway, the smell of roasting meat and old wood. Your name, Odd. You are Odd.
You showed mercy in Northumbria. Pulled a child from fire. A raven saw. Odin took your memory to ask if that mercy was real. But you gave him a different answer than he expected. Mercy to the innocent, death to the monster. You didn't choose one. You chose both. That is rare, even among Odin's chosen.
I've watched mortals die at Fenrir's children's claws. Dozens. Hundreds. I've never watched one win. Go home, Ord. Remember who you are, and what you're capable of. The wolves will hear about this.
Munin takes flight first, winging back toward the mainland. Hugin lingers for a heartbeat, his head tilted, watching you with an expression that looks almost like respect. Then, he is gone. A shadow, swallowed by the night.
You stand alone in the North Forest, the body of the beast cooling at your feet. The curse is broken. The people hiding in the plains and the woods will wake to a silent dawn.
You grip the silver spear, your arm throbbing, your heart full. You remember everything, and you have a new memory now, heavier than the rest.
It's just weird how the voice keeps fluctuating. Hey, Agent number 1, thank you for that raid. Alright, we just completed OMEA. Thank you for stepping into Odin's Trial. This is a demo slice of the saga. Your thread continued, but you reached the end of what we prepared for the showcase. Want to know what happens next? Wishlist. To stay in touch. Go back to the library, right? So it looks like here's a teaser of all the different stories that OMEA has to offer. So today we did the Odin's Trial, and off the Steam page, it shows like some other fairy tale episode that looks pretty cool. Looking forward to trying that one out. How's OMEA? I saw it yesterday and I was curious about it. Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, there are things that needs work. I think that one of the problems is that the developers are gonna have to figure out, because we experienced it this morning, because the game is client and server based, where the chat, the dialogue and all that stuff, or your input. Let me lower down the volume here so I can talk. So this is my sort of take. The thing that I've noticed is that there is a server load, right? So when the server becomes overloaded, the text that you transmit to the server and the server trying to tell you the story or give you the narration is going to get clogged and can stall. And we were stuck this morning, and we had to sit around and wait for the developer, he was in channel by the way, to let us know when the server load was cleared. And so we were able to restart the game and continue. But that's going to be a problem and a challenge for the developers to sort of sort out, because if everyone's buying this game and they're playing all the different stories and suddenly the server starts overloading, no one's playing after that. So that was kind of bad, and hopefully the developer can figure out something about that, or guarantee players are going to have a smooth time playing this game. So that's the only thing that I noticed that was kind of an issue. And then the second thing that, well, it's not the only thing, but the second thing that I noticed that was an issue was the narration. It seems to be done on the client side. The voiceover is pre-recorded, or sorry, not pre-recorded, but is recorded and generated on the server side, and then they feed that audio file to us, which then has some sort of issues with the different voices. There was like different tones, different sounds fluctuating in the middle of that audio file. So I think they're going to have to figure out how to sort that out. I think that it might be better for them to create the AI reading the text on our end, because then that cuts down, like, you know, the download time and it cuts down on their server having to generate the audio file. So I think somehow they need to probably put the AI reader on the client side just so that there's no bottleneck on the server side. So that's just my take, because I'm a programmer and I used to program at a massive multi-gaming company, and I did client-based, programming versus my fellow coworkers. They did the server side. So I think that in this situation, somebody on the client side should take on the load of doing the AI voice reading, and then the server side should not have to generate that and read that and transmit that. They just need to transmit the story. Overall, I think this is a great idea, because at some point, we know somebody's going to do this, and it's interesting that OMEA has taken the initiative to do this, because I think the idea of a AI or a computer generated GM storyteller is a good idea, because that way. Okay, so let's take a step back in history here. Back in the days when I used to play text-based story games, usually the game designers have to come up with a bunch of pre-scripted responses to your commands and your actions. So when you're exploring an RPG or an adventure game, you're sitting there typing, look this, look left, look right, pick up object or whatever it is, examine, all this stuff, right? And then do whatever action, and then you have to go through things that are already scripted and pre-planned and thought out by the game designers. And so when you do these things, you have to constantly brute force your way through the adventure to get the right answer to get to the end. This is an adventure, choose your own adventure game style kind of thing, right? But in the real world, you have, let's say if you were to play role-playing games, a GM, a game master, of course, because I played, RPG, Dungeons and Dragon games before, the game master basically comes up with, a guideline, a skeleton of how he wants to guide, players, the adventurers, through his story. And so you interact with the GM, and the GM basically, goes back to his notes and says, okay, well, do I want to, react? How do I want to react to this? And how do I want to guide the players through my story? And sometimes, they'll just do random stuff just for funsies, improvise whatever that does not necessarily affect the story, but just for funsies, right? So here I did notice that in this game, the game does kind of generate different text, different scenarios for funsies, you asking for something and it did it. Like the crafted, for example, the crafted spear weapon, or the silver tipped, or the silver axe, all those things I kind of, creatively came up with while playing the game to create a weapon that had at least silver on it. And I think in the story, the way the designers made it so that as long as the players cleverly create some sort of weapon with silver on it, it works. So we were able to generate something, and then the inventory didn't have any artwork. There were placeholders. Maybe the developers will generate some artwork for that later. I don't know. But that's just an example of players being clever and doing something and the AI reacting to it. And I thought I like that idea, right? And then the AI just reacting to things that you ask for, it'll probably give you some narration that does not necessarily change the story one way or the other, but at least it gives you a sense of you talking to somebody, right? I think that part of the AI generation is really neat, versus playing with a scripted set of reactions the developers come up with. It feels repetitive after a while, right? Let's say you ask for something and the developer just says something generic, and then you get the same generic response over and over. Here, you ask for something, you can ask it different ways, but you get different results, because I have played this at least a few times off stream, and I did notice the story, every playthrough was slightly different. My first time around, like I said, I played it and I ate the seaweed out of the ocean, and I got sick, and I had nausea or whatever it is. And then I found the mead, and so I used the mead to actually soothe my stomach so I didn't feel sick anymore. So that didn't happen in this playthrough, but that's something that happened during my offline playthrough. So it's kind of neat that the game does different things that reacts to you. So I think that overall this game has a lot of potential. It's just sort of my take from this. So this game is available now as a demo. You guys can try it out for yourself. The link is in chat, and let me give you a link again so that you can download it and try it out for yourself. There are new stories that's coming in the future. There is no release date. The developer is Alm Immersive and self-publishing, and thank you so much, by the way, for providing me an advanced copy of the game and sponsoring the stream. I definitely think this game has a lot of potential, and if they work on it some more and tweak it, I think they have like a pretty good, solid, interactive adventure game. And I think a lot of players who are craving for some sort of dungeon master to interact with at some point, I think this will be a solid game of sorts. It slightly substitutes, like having a GM. Like in real life, I do like playing role-playing games, and not having like a GM or a friend or of sort that has to sit there and create all these different stories. This is the next best thing, in my opinion. All right, so that's all I've got for you here. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts if you've played this game and what you think of it, if you think it has a lot of potential or not, and also any feedback that you may have, or things that developers may consider or should try to consider when they develop this game further. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll play something else when I get back.